Hey everyone, it's Allie and welcome to my channel. Today I thought it would be kind of fun, and if you guys like this, I can make this a reoccurring video here on my channel once a month, but I wanted to take a look at my sales from the month of March and pick out 10 that are notable in some way. So these are not necessarily going to be my top 10 sales for the month. They are just going to be ones that stuck out to me because they were really good, or maybe they were bad and something sold that didn't sell for as much as I thought it was going to, and I might not pick up this brand anymore. Just a way for me to kind of take what I learned from sales over the past month, and hopefully you will all learn something from this video. All right, so first up, I will start off with this brown cropped Reformation top. And this was the first time that I had ever found Reformation, haven't found it since. I found this top when I was actually thrifting in Raleigh. And if you guys saw those videos, you know that I did find a fair amount of brands that I never have found here in Columbus. And that's why I do really like going thrifting wherever I am on vacation, or like when I'm visiting my family in PA. I always like to go thrifting because that just seems to happen where certain regions, for whatever reason, like wear brands more, or maybe people in those areas donate these brands more. I don't really know, but yeah, anytime I go to a different area, I find stuff that I don't find here in Columbus. So I was super stoked to find this Reformation top, even though it was kind of plain, but it was like a stretchy top. It was a really good basic, I think, and it seems like a lot of the Gen Zers especially really like having these kind of cropped basic tops that they can wear with a bunch of different stuff. And brown is a very trendy color this year, which kind of sucks for me because I am like not really a fan of brown. I like maybe have one brown item in my closet, but that is a really trendy color, so that's something to be aware of in and of itself. But I got so much interest on this Reformation top from the moment that I posted it. Right now, it says that I have 36 likes, but that is because a lot of people, once something is sold, they go ahead and remove their like. But it was like 50 people at least had liked this item, which is a lot for me, maybe not necessarily for other people, but I like never get that many likes on items. So Reformation is definitely a sought after brand. I don't feel like there's a ton of it on Poshmark. That is the platform that I sell on primarily. I did originally have this listed for $50, I believe, because comps are really good for Reformation. However, it was sitting for a while despite getting all the likes. And for a while, I mean like about a month or so, I just was thinking that it was going to sell a little bit faster just because of all the attention that it got. So I believe I lowered the price once, and then I did end up getting an offer for $30, which I very happily accepted. I made a very nice profit on it. And yeah, I like a quick flip at the end of the day. I would rather take a little bit less money and get rid of something pretty quickly rather than hold on to it for months and months and months just for a couple extra bucks. Even over the past month or so, I've really been more into just accepting offers if I'm making a pretty solid profit rather than even countering, because a lot of people, at least in my experience, just disappear after a counter. But I definitely learned that I will pretty much pick up any kind of Reformation in the future. As I said, this is a very basic piece, a very simple piece, and so I think if you find like a Reformation dress or just something with a lot more detail that is more interesting, that costs a lot more than this did originally, you can definitely sell it for quite a bit of money. All right, so these are going to be in no particular order too as far as when I sold them throughout the month. I just kind of screenshotted 10 different pieces. So this one was a pretty recent sale. This happened towards the end of the month. I found this really pretty short sleeve red butterfly cardigan. I actually got this in Pennsylvania when I was thrifting with my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and I wasn't finding a lot of stuff at this particular thrift store, and it was a little bit overpriced. I don't know why, but Pittsburgh Goodwill prices do seem to be a few dollars more expensive than the ones here in Columbus. So if I'm going to a more expensive store, I am going to be pickier than I am here because I just know that I can get good stuff here as well. But at this store, I was finding some good vintage items for half off, and this was one of them. And I knew when I saw this, I was like, this is either going to sell really fast or it's gonna sit forever. I think there's a very fine line with like granny core, cottage core, vintage type pieces. They either, like I said, move quickly or they'll never sell. And I have learned a lot about what kind of vintage sells best, and maybe I'll do a whole video on that in the future, maybe even in a few more months as I've gained some more knowledge. But yeah, there's some really like granny core pieces that I've picked up in the past that really just sat forever. But this one I thought looked really cool. It had these butterflies embroidered on it. It was in fantastic shape. And I could just totally see some like really trendy Gen Zer kind of person like Emma Chamberlain style wearing this cardigan open with like a bandeau or a bralette or something underneath and just really rocking it. And sure enough, this did end up selling, I believe the second day it was out. So it sold really quickly for $30 and I was very happy to make that much. I was expecting to get more like 20, so yeah, was very happy with 30. Okay, here's a very exciting sale. I didn't think that this was gonna go that well for me, honestly. So I had recently gone to this thrift store that's a really big thrift store by me. I did some vlogging there, so I'll link that video. And I searched for quite a while, a few hours, and I only came out with like 8 to 10 items, I think. So I was really not that happy with that thrifting experience. I didn't think that it was gonna go that badly. I had better hopes for it, and I had kind of decided I was never gonna go back there. And even when I looked at the items that I got, I was happy with them, but I didn't really think any of them were like insane. But then I did realize after some more research that I had gotten this Disney Spirit jersey, and I didn't really realize when I picked it up how much those can actually go for. So I ended up listing it for $75, this pink natural beauty. It said Spirit jersey from Disney, and it even had like a specific festival on like the chest area with a date. So I thought like people weren't gonna be super into it because of that like very specific detail. So yeah, like I said, I listed it for 75. I was expecting to sell it for like maybe 50 if I was lucky. I was very happy to take an offer. And then pretty quickly after it had been listed, definitely within a week or so, I got an offer for $70. So I was like, yes, except I feel like I don't really get very reasonable offers often at all. People will pretty much always send me like a 50% offer, even if it's already priced pretty low. So I was just so grateful that someone was like willing to send me such a reasonable offer. And yeah, like I said, accepted that in a heartbeat. They paid full shipping, so I made a very nice profit on that piece. That was probably my favorite sale of the month just because it was so unexpected. I really was not expecting to get $70 for that item. It wasn't a size extra large, so that helped as well. And I did feel good because once the buyer accepted the item, they gave me a really nice love note, 5 stars, and they were like,
"Thank you so much for accepting my offer. I love this. I've been looking for this."
So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for the Disney Spirit jerseys. Okay, here was another really exciting find for me. This I found at a local discount outlet store, so I was able to get this for a great price. This is a J.Crew collection silk top. And I had never found J.Crew collection before, haven't found it in the month or so since I found this one. And I actually debated a little bit because this was a size 00, and I really don't like picking up sizes that are like even size 4 and smaller anymore because they just tend to sit for a long time. But because this was J.Crew collection, I knew they could go for a lot, and it is a very interesting print. You can see I, of course, was willing to spend the like $5 or $6 I paid for it. So I was super happy with this pickup, and I was definitely pleasantly surprised to see that I was getting a fair amount of interest on it pretty quickly because yeah, the 00 stuff tends to sit and sit and sit, and then I'll eventually get a buyer, but there's just not a lot of people that are that size, I think. So that is kind of the danger with that. But clearly that shows that the J.Crew collection pieces are searched for, they're sought after, and they have such cool novelty prints, a lot of these J.Crew collection pieces, and I think people really like that. Just in general, novelty pieces seem to do pretty well. This is a gorgeous top. If I had found this in my size, I definitely would have worn it at least once or twice out because I think it is gorgeous. I love the colors. I love the tiger print. I can't remember exactly what I had listed it for originally, probably about $65. And I think I did lower it once because I just wanted it to be gone. Like I said, I like things to sell very quickly. If possible, within a month is fantastic. And I did end up getting an offer for $45, or perhaps I sent that offer, I can't quite remember. But anyway, I sold it for $45, made a nice profit, and it was within a few weeks, and definitely learned that I will pick up J.Crew collection if I can get it for a decent price in the future. All right, here we have some Lululemon. I don't often find Lululemon, but for me at least, it sells very quickly. I know some people are getting a little bit particular with it, but even the leggings, bras, tanks, and definitely the crew necks, they still all sell eventually. I think some of the leggings will sit for a little bit longer and the tanks will sit for a little bit longer. But in my experience, the crew necks especially sell very, very quickly. So this piece I actually got at Plato's Closet, and I got it specifically to resell. I did a video on it. And I don't often go to Plato's for resale just because their prices, in my opinion, are a little bit higher than I want to spend. I like to keep my cost of goods literally like $3 or less, like $4 or less. And if I find a really good piece, I'll pay up for it. But normally I'm not gonna pay like $20 for a Lululemon piece. Totally fine if you do that. You can definitely still make money by paying up that much. Just for the way that I run my business, I like to keep my cost of goods as low as possible and accept offers that are lower, give people deals, and still make a nice profit. But Plato's Closet was having a 30% off sale, and I did have money in my account from selling some stuff to them. So I decided to go to this sale, and I did get a fair amount of items, and I did a haul on that, so I'll link it up here. But one of the items that I was really excited about, probably the item that I was most excited about, was this Lululemon green camo crew neck. I believe they call it the scuba crew neck. It's a size 10. It came out in 2020. It still had the tags attached. So you guys know, if you're familiar with Lululemon, how rare that is that the tags are still attached. And it originally was priced at only $25, so really not bad at all. And then with the 30% off, and then ending up actually paying $0 for all of the Plato's items because I had money in my account, ended up being a great cost of goods for the week when I mixed it with the other items that I had picked up at Goodwill. This sold super quickly, I believe within 2 days, for $60. I think I had it listed for $75 and I accepted the offer for $60 because it sold super fast. So that ended up being a great turnaround for me, but I wanted to include that in here especially just so you know that in my experience, the Lululemon crew necks really sell quite well. Okay, so this is an example of a piece that did not sell for necessarily a lot. And I know some people, they won't even pick something up if they don't think they can sell it for like $50+ And again, that's totally fine. It just depends on how you run your business. I'm totally willing to sell items for lower prices because I usually have very low cost of goods and I can still make $5, $10, $15. And I'm really okay with that. I like selling a lot of stuff for lower amounts rather than fewer items for high amounts. But I wanted to include this in here because I think this is a quite popular plus size brand, and that is called Eloquii. And I don't believe that these items retail for a ton. I think this top maybe retailed for around $50. So not super cheap at all, but you know, not super high end either. But anytime I sell something from Eloquii, it gets a lot of likes again, and it does tend to sell pretty quickly. And this top I did get from my local discount outlet store, and I just thought it was really, really pretty. A nice statement top that you could kind of dress up or down. Oh, I guess it did originally retail for $65. I must have figured that out. So yeah, it's not like too cheap of a brand. Definitely not like a Shein or even like American Eagle or something like that. I did end up selling it for $20. I'm sure I could have held out for more, but I sold it quickly and I did make a nice profit because my cost of goods was low. So I figured I would include this in here just to let you know that I think Eloquii is a really nice plus size brand to pick up if you can get it for pretty cheap. Here is something a little bit different. This is actually a bundle of 5 items, and I wanted to include this because I actually was not really that excited about any of these items. Some of them had been sitting for months and months, especially this fossil wristlet. I had picked that up for $3 from my Goodwill like a really long time ago. I had it listed for probably $30 originally. I kept dropping it. Nobody was interested in it. And there were a couple other items that I had listed for not necessarily a super long time, but they'd been sitting for a couple months or so and weren't getting a lot of interest. And so when this person accepted an offer for $100 on these 5 items, I was stoked. My earnings from Poshmark were $77.32, and I really did not have that much into any of these items. So I ended up making a really nice profit. So I love selling bundles like this, getting rid of more than one item, especially when the items have been sitting for a little bit. That doesn't often happen to me. I don't know about you guys, but so many times people will like all these items, they'll add them to their bundle. I'll send them a very, very reasonable offer because I do like getting rid of a large amount of things. And they will counter with like $25 for like 8 items. And I'm like,
Girlfriend, what are you doing?
what are you doing? Like, that's not how this works. I'm not willing to lose money for you. So yeah, I really love that bundle, but that really isn't something that happens super often. So here's a little bit of a stinker piece. Like I said, I want to include things that I would recommend not picking up in the future, as well as really nice things. So this was a really nice top, actually. It was like very stretchy rib top, size large, nice like neutral color. I put a lot of like minimalism tags on it because I thought that this would be a nice piece for someone that had a capsule wardrobe or just like to dress in a lot of neutrals. And this top is from the brand BCBG Max Azria. And yeah, it just doesn't do that well. I have learned that the hard way. I used to get excited when I found BCBG Generation or BCBG Max Azria because the retail is pretty high for those brands. They are not cheap at all, but resale is just not very high in my experience. I think certain items, if they're like really cute or maybe like a very substantial piece, you can get a little bit more, but I sold this for $15. I probably originally had it listed for maybe $35 or $40. This had been sitting for many, many months, and I was thrilled to finally get rid of it for $15. So I will not really be picking this brand up unless I do find something that I think is amazing, or if I got a piece from like a ThredUp rescue box, I will definitely try to list it rather than just automatically giving it to Goodwill or taking it to Clothes Mentor or somewhere like that. So if I got it in that way, I would, but I would not recommend like seeking this brand out. Okay, here we have a pretty good one. This is something that I would kind of call a closet staple, bread and butter type piece, and that is a denim overall dress. This denim overall dress happened to be from Gap, so you know, nothing crazy, but Gap does make, I think, very good quality clothes that are gonna last you for many years. And they definitely have a following. Like, I think people know what their size is in Gap, they know how it fits, they know how it looks, so they may look on Poshmark for it. But anytime I sell an overall dress, I feel like they tend to move pretty quickly for a solid amount. So this piece I did end up selling for $29. I think I had it listed for $35, and I can't really remember. I either sent an offer with discounted shipping or I accepted an offer for that $29, but it sold really quick, probably within 4 or 5 days, I would say, that overall dress sold. So yeah, I think overalls of any kind, but especially the overall dresses, they tend to do well. They do well for me, hopefully they do well for you too. All right, and the last one I think is a really fun one, and this one I did not actually find. I got a call from my mother-in-law, maybe like last winter or like the end of fall, and she said, I found this really cool vintage coat. She was really proud of herself because she is really not that into thrifting herself, but she took my sister-in-law and she was just looking around and found this, and she did some searching around and kind of used some of my tips for finding good vintage items and thought that this would be a really good piece for me to sell. And I was like, absolutely, please pick it up, I'll Venmo you, everything. So she got this for $10, so I got this for $10, and it is this vintage Donnybrook coat, and it was so big. Like, this was actually a large, and I tried it on because that's usually what I am in a coat, and it was like quite oversized, which I believe was the intent, but for sure like an XL could have fit in there as well. But the detail on this coat was so cool. It was really fuzzy, it's in great shape, and I wasn't really sure how this piece was gonna do. I 1,000,000% was gonna take the risk for $10, but my mother-in-law said that she found some comps that were like 200, 250. So yeah, especially knowing that, I was absolutely willing to have her pick that up. And this is the kind of piece that it really got like no interest. I maybe had one like on it over like 3 or 4 months. But then just last month, I got an offer for $70, and that was after me lowering the price like 5 times because it was really bulky and I really wanted to move it during that winter season. And so I was quite happy to take that $70 offer. Of course, it would have been really cool for me to get like $200+ for it. And maybe in the future, I could have got that if I would have held out for it. So yeah, I think after the Poshmark fees and everything and the $10 cost of goods, I ended up making about $47, which I'm really happy with. I'm not the kind of seller that like turns up their nose at that kind of profit. To me, that is a great sale. But all right, those are the 10 sales that I am gonna share with you today. Let me know if you learned anything. Do these kinds of things sell well? Or in the case of the BCBG Max Azria / Generation, does that brand sell badly for you as well? But thank you guys so much for watching. And if you did enjoy the video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help my channel out a lot. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Bye.